So when was the first gay kiss screened on British TV? It was 1970.
The first gay male kiss was between Ian McKellen, now Sir Ian McKellen, and James Lawrenson in BBC Two's version of Edward II 38 years ago, back in 1970. That was the moment just before we showed that. But first, though, was a TV ad for mayonnaise that showed two men kissing simply too saucy for British TV. Heinz pulled the plug on the ad for deli mayo after it provoked more than 200 complaints from viewers in less than a week. The commercial was launched last Monday and was due to run for 5 weeks. If you missed it, here's what all the fuss was about.
Ham salad, please, Mum.
Yeah, you got it, kid. And practice tonight.
What's that mean?
Oh, what about you? I'll leave you a little piece extra ham. Don't tell your brother.
Thanks, Mum.
You're welcome.
He's not love.
Hey, ain't you forgetting something? Love you. Straight home from work, sweet cheeks.
I know what you're thinking, Gail. You're thinking, what was all the fuss about?
What is all the fuss about?
Yeah, right.
That's ridiculous.
I'll tell you, viewers complained it was offensive, inappropriate and unsuitable, especially if seen by children before the watershed. Some said they were angry at having to explain same-sex relationships to their kids who'd asked probing questions after seeing that commercial. Presumably, these kids hadn't been taught about same-sex relationships in primary school, as many children are these days. I mean, I can't even believe it. What do you say? I mean, would anyone have complained if that had shown a man and a woman kissing? I suspect not. Would any normal person have complained I mean, full stop? Or is homophobia at the root of all these objections? And if it is, were Heinz wrong to withdraw it? Missus. They said they were simply listening to the concerns of their customers, but shouldn't they have stuck to their guns rather than giving in to fearing some sort of commercial backlash? I would go. You looked completely perplexed.
I can't believe they've actually withdrawn it. I think that's ridiculous. I think, you should make a stance. There's nothing offensive about that whatsoever.
Well, some people would disagree with you.
Yeah, I think the mayonnaise is offensive.
Well, that was the thing. When he said about mayonnaise and a saucy advert and two men, my mind was all over the place. So I was thinking, wow, this could be potentially fantastic.
Yeah.
But it was just a peck, They wouldn't get on your show, would they?
Hardly, no. Plus they regress.
And they had teeth as well.
Good Lord.
But I just think it's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean,
sex education when I was at school was not very good, and I remember getting a really hard time at school because my teacher said, now, does anyone know if you can get pregnant if you don't have, without having sex? I was like that. Oh, yeah, because one of the boys had told me this story. And I was going, well, if you get some sort of, the boy stuff on your tights, it can swim up. And everyone's going, right, okay. And I thought, my sex education.
Well, they have a book in schools now called The King, in which a prince turns down 3 princesses and ends up running off with one of their brothers. And that's a book that's used to explain same-sex relationships.
I've never heard of that.
But it is free enterprise. And I guess as long as the government's not getting involved in that, then here's a private company that is concerned about its customers.
Jerry, this is a company that believes in 57 varieties. And we're struggling to get 2 on TV.
Yes. Yeah. I think the ad is great.
I think the ad is great.
I think the ad is great. But, they have to make it. The company has to make a decision.
What about standing up for gay people? What about standing up for common sense? What about telling 200 nutters to bog off?
Well, exactly. It doesn't sound like a lot of people to me. 200 people, I mean, people get complaints all the time about everything, about the smallest of things. So 200 people and they've withdrawn a commercial is insane. I think.
I'm telling you, companies...
Do you know what I think? I think that 200,000 people at a time of night when 6 million people are watching ITV is 1 in 30,000.
It's just 200. It's 200.
200 people. One in 30,000. So if one...
We had about 1 complaint over the goldfish, and we had to change the tank for that. 2 complaints. I'm sorry. I'm not going to let it go.
I also think...
We had to get a new tank for the goldfish. Animal rights people said it was why. Because they said the last tank was too small and cruel on the goldfish.
If I would have known that, I never would have come on this show.
I know. Yeah, it's shocking.
Doesn't it make a mockery?
Torture goldfish.
Doesn't it make a mockery of the fact that the same 200 people who complained about this ad are probably the 200 people who complain about the fact that there's too much gay sex education in school?
Yeah.
And they're having to answer uncomfortable questions for kids who get no gay sex education in school. You can't have it both ways.
Nicely said. Let's throw it open to you. Was it too saucy for TV? Amy?
Our first caller thinks kids shouldn't have to see this kind of material on telly. It's Naomi on line 2.
Morning, Naomi.
Hello, morning.
Hello.
Well, having seen the advert now, I think it wasn't actually that bad. It was quite comical.
Right.
But, there are some things that I feel, you know, I don't want my son to see, like Hollyoaks, for instance. You know, that's on before the watershed. And some of the stuff on there, I'm just like, I really don't want my 4-year-old son having to see this. And so that's for me.
So why? Why don't you want him to see it?
Why? Because I think, personally, I think he's too young. I don't feel like, I haven't got anything against gay people, but I don't feel like I should have certain things pushed on to me to explain to my child.
Well, hang on. So Naomi, if it was a man kissing a woman, you wouldn't have a problem. But if it's a man...
I don't.
But if it's a man kissing a man, it is.
Pardon?
So if it's a man kissing a woman, you don't have a problem. But if it's a man kissing a man, you do, but you don't think you're homophobic.
I'm not homophobic.
Well, you are, Naomi.
But
That is homophobic.
I think it should be a man and a woman. You know, if my son came home and said he was gay, then I'd have to deal with it. But at the same time, I'm not really up for it being taught in schools.
Naomi, I'm going to cut you off to put you out of your misery, OK, and save you from embarrassing yourself any further. Thank you for the call. Let's have another.
Our next caller thinks the ban is disappointing. It's Benjamin on line 1.
Morning, Benjamin.
Morning.
Morning. So what do you think?
Well, as a gay person myself, I thought it was a step forward when I saw the advert, because it was about time people got treated fairly.
But now it's been withdrawn. It's been pulled, cancelled.
Yeah, well, that's the obvious sign of homophobia, I think.
You think it's a homophobic action, and as a gay man, what do you feel? You feel let down?
Yeah.
But you know what? The response, therefore, is that don't buy that mayonnaise.
Absolutely.
In other words, that's what I meant about the free market system.
I'm with you,
If the government's involved, then this is clearly over the top. But if it's a particular brand, they're making a decision who they want to appeal to.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think the protest is you are disgusted with the fact that they would be homophobic and pull that ad off, then fine. Don't buy the mayonnaise. And so have your own protest, because more people will probably protest on your side, and all of a sudden they're going to think, oh, boy, we better put the ad back on.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you ought to deal with this. Yeah. And to the young woman who called us about not wanting that on television, the truth of the matter is you cannot keep your children from seeing the world. In today's technology, they'll have YouTube, they'll have their friends, they'll have television, they'll have newspapers. They'll walk by...
Horses. Obsession.
Here, you really, you and the horse.
I can never forget it, Jerry. It's burned into my brain.
I know. Yeah, I'll fix you up.
And in fact, if you don't want to buy the mayonnaise, I can tell you that to make your own mayonnaise, you require 1 egg yolk, a tiny teaspoonful of mustard, and dribble in some oil. Whisk it as you go. It's really easy, really nice. No additives, no preservatives.
No yolk?
It's got to be good for you. Just a little, no yolk, just a little egg yolk. That's it. Throw the white away. Thanks for the call, Benjamin. After the ads.